All right, so getting ready for Unit 6, we're just going to review factoring again, our favorite activity. So number 1, factor completely. So first off, you want to always take out the GCF. Always look for the GCF. So what is the biggest number that goes into 16 and 64? Well, that would be 16. Okay? And for x to the 4th and x cubed, we always look for the lowest degree because that's what they have in common. They don't both have 4, but they both have 3. So we're going to do that. Okay? And now we're going to divide. So 16 divided by 16 is 1. You don't have to put the 1 as long as there's still an x there. So you can put 1x or just x. And then 64 divided by 16 is positive 4. And that's it. And that's all we can do. We can't go any further. We just took out the GCF. Right? Now on number 2, we're going to start off by factoring by grouping. So we're going to ask ourselves, what goes into 35 and 30? Well, that's hopefully obviously 5. And what goes into x cubed and x squared? Well, again, we're going to look for the smallest degree and take that out of both. So now I divide. 35 divided by 5 is 7. X cubed divided by x squared. Remember, if you need to remind yourself, that looks like this. X, 3 minus 2 is 1. And then negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6, and the x squareds cancel. Now the beauty of this method is you get to come over here and kind of cheat and know I have to have 7x minus 6 for this to work. So now you just ask yourself, what do I need to divide negative 28 by to get positive 7? And that's negative 4. And you can check 24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. So now we hook these two up. We get 5x squared minus 4 times 7x minus 6. We only write that once. Now, just for the sake of argument, if this was not 5x squared minus 4 and it was x squared minus 4, you would want to factor this down to x plus 2x minus 2, a difference of 2 squares. But since 5 is not a perfect square, we're done. We stop right here. We cannot go any further. Is there a difference between these two expressions and factor each expression? All right. Well, first off, if you just look at them, the first one is positive, the second one is negative. So this is going to be a happy parabola. And this one is going to be a frown, a sad parabola. Okay, so there's obviously a difference between the two. Now, when we factor here, this is guess and check. Remember, not guess and hope or guess and pray. We're checking. So x times x is x squared. I need two numbers that make 14 by multiplication that differ by 5. Well, that's going to be 7 and 2. Now, I want more negatives than positives, so it's going to be negative 7 and positive 2. I have factored it. Again, I can just check it real quickly. X times x is x squared. Negative 7x plus 2x is negative 5x. And there's negative 14. Now, you have two choices here. You can factor this and you would have, like negative 1x times positive x. I don't like personally doing that because I feel it's easier when the x is positive. So I would like to start off by just factoring out a negative. Now, notice, this is this. So it should be very easy to factor because we already have the answer over here, x minus 7, x plus 2. The only difference is that there's a negative outside. So this is negative 1. It's like its own parentheses. Negative 1 times x minus 7 times x plus 2. Okay, what works best for the second expression? General rule of thumb, start with expressions in standard form with a positive a, which is what I was just talking about. So for number 6, I would start off by taking the negative out. And then factor. Lunchtime. All right, so that's A and A. I need two numbers that make 28 by multiplication that add to 11. Well, that's going to be 4 and 7. But since they add up to negative 11, they both have to be negative. Okay? Number 7, I want to definitely take a negative out. But at the same time, as we saw in number 1, I can also take a 16 out. So I'm going to take out negative 16 and get negative 64 divided by negative 16 is positive 4, a squared. And then 16 divided by negative 16 is minus 1, b squared. And now I have a difference of squares, so I can keep going. So this is going to be very easy, even though it looks more complicated. You take the square root of the first term, which is 2a. You take the square root of the second term, which is simply b, and 1 plus and 1 minus, and we're finished. Now again, you can double check. This is 2ab minus 2ab, so the middle term drops out. All right, so for number 8, let's get rid of that watermark. Number 8, first thing I want to do is put it in descending order, standard form. So negative x squared plus 4x minus 3. Now I'm going to take the negative out. So this becomes positive, this becomes negative, this becomes positive. And now I'm going to factor the two parentheses, but don't forget, that's a horrible parentheses, don't forget this negative out here. It's very important. So x and x, easy enough. There's only one choice for 3, 1 times 3. And since it adds up to negative, they both have to be negative. And that's it. Number 9. Again, I can only take out a negative. There's no common number. So this is just going to become positive. This is going to become positive. And look, this is going to become positive also. And now, write that negative. Don't forget it. Now, there's going to be a little bit more work, but not too much, because this is 1p and 3p. Only choice there. For 8, I have 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Okay? So, you're just going to have to play with it for a little bit. And this is where the guess and check comes in. So I'm going to do 2 and 4 here. So that's 6 and 4. Well, that does not add up to 25. So I'm going to try 4 and 2. Well, that gives me 12 and 2. That's 14. Still doesn't work. And so that only leaves us with 8 and 1. If you can kind of plan ahead, you can see, oh, I need 8 times 3 for 24 and 1 times 1. That gives me 25. And they're both positive because they add the positive 25. And that's it.